there YouTube, I'm Yukitsu, this is the Yukitsu Times, and welcome to my channel. This is another episode of Getting in Shape with Yukitsu. As you can see, I'm playing Total War Shogun 2 again. Sorry I haven't made any videos in quite a while. I've been pretty busy with my Let's Play over on Something Awful forums. I kind of fell behind and had to do one update every day for like 2 weeks, which was pretty much crushing. Haven't really gotten a whole lot done other than that, but now that I've finished that, you can go watch it over there. I've decided to play a little bit of Shogun 2. So as you can see, I've got a full 1 silver star opponent here. Favors missile infantry. As usual, I've probably got to switch up my army just a little bit here. Just gonna say hi to this guy. He's being pretty friendly. But let's modify our army just a little bit here. Get rid of this guy, this guy, this guy, and let's see how many of these guys I can get. Actually, it looks like what I had set up before is going to be about the best I can get here. My opponent does favor missile infantry, so it's going to probably just be a lot of guns, which is pretty typical for what he's got there. So what I really want is this sort of screening component. But on the other hand, these sort of Rise of the Samurai armies can have very strong cavalry components, so I need to be careful about that. But on the other hand, I haven't made too many modifications for my army in general. I can get rid of this bow samurai actually. I don't really need that in this particular situation. Now, one advantage that I do have in this particular case is that my opponent doesn't really have a terribly large amount of unit diversity either. He's going to be a little bit constrained just like I am here. So hopefully we'll be able to do good here. So what I've got here is sword attendants and these 3 Naginata attendants. They're going to be counter cavalry and just a bullet screen, Soka bullets. I've got 3 Katana Samurai and these excellent Wako Raiders who are going to be my main sword components. For a little bit of mobility, I've got these 2 light cavalry and my Avatar's bodyguard. So let's get into this. As you can see, I've added in the workshop armory that I earned the last battle. That'll help out quite a bit. It's plus armor for all my melee infantry. Here we're on Chigoku River, which is going to be a little bit tricky for me just because he'll have all those guns and I have to fight through the river. Which is not really a great situation for me. Currently I'm going for the gun dojo, which will earn hopefully a match like Ashigaru from my force, so I'll be able to bring guns next battle. But for now I don't have any. Normally I like to have a bit of archery, but I've cut them out from this army since I don't like having them against modern armies. There's a lot of times where they'll just do something surprising and sword spam you, or at least that's what I like to do. So why am I playing this again? Well, I've got a month before my next match in that Rise of the Samurai tournament, and I want to keep my skills pretty sharp here, so let's just get into these. I just want to play a few games and try and keep up to par, basically. I don't know if I'll actually be able to keep my skills ready for that particular match when that comes up. I'm still in the winner's bracket, which is unfortunate because there's no one else there, which means I have to wait until everyone else has finished their matches to figure out who's up here. Now my opponent has not set up his retainers for this match. He's got the flogging officer, which does not work against my infantry, so it might be an oversight. It's his only retainer, so that's what he has. He's probably just a little bit limited on retainers, although I kind of thought that he was allowed to take whatever retainers he had before. I didn't think he lost them when he promoted to silver, but maybe I'm wrong here. I'm going to put my units into loose formation, spread them out here. I'm going to hide my cavalry in the woods. I said I'm going to hide my cavalry in the woods. There we go. Just so that I can sort of get a feel for what his army's up to before I commit to a fight. Let's get my general in loose formation as well here. He needs to be a bit further behind, and this is my force here. Oops, these guys. I want to capture this dojo very quickly, so they're going to start up there. So let's get this started. What I want to do is capture the shrine and the farmhouse. That'll let me prevent him from kiting me, and it'll give my units good morale against his bows. Okay, so I can rush these buildings since he's deployed over by the other building. And let's move up my light cav. So I don't know what my army or my opponent's actually got. He's got these Bokachi at the very least. He's got a bodyguard. He's got a samurai hero. That'll be annoying. He's basically got the ability to sort of skirmish with those samurai heroes, but they're not a great unit in melee. If I can get my light cavalry into them, I'll be able to destroy that unit. So the problem here is that I don't know what my opponent's actually got. So it's very possible that he'll have some sort of units in surprise that'll make it difficult for me to beat him. So he's moving his Kachi up. He's got Katana Kachi. So he went for a melee heavy army, which is going to work relatively to my favor. Hold on one second. I'm going to have to AFK here. Playing a game live with your dog on the set is probably not the smartest of ideas. But anyway, he's moved his general to try and capture that dojo. I'm going to start harassing his units with my cavalry. He's taking some pot shots at my sword attendants, but I'm not really too concerned about them, so I'm just going to let that happen. His general's bodyguard is forced to retreat thanks to my light cavalry attack. And this is going to put me in a relatively good position here. Now I can tighten up my lines here since my opponent has not brought a lot of guns. And that's going to work to my advantage here. I didn't actually check to see what kind of general's bodyguard this was. This might be a modern general's bodyguard. Yeah, it is. He might have a gun. It's hard to tell. I don't think he does, actually. So, I'm not going to worry too much about that. Just going to keep my light cavalry away from his heroes, since I don't want them getting shot. But those samurai heroes can be... Actually, I think I'm mixing up samurai hero types. What does the samurai... Yeah, they're archers. They're archers, okay. Okay, so I've captured 2 buildings. This puts me in a pretty good spot here. He's moved his general, and I think his bow hero is also moving away from the main battle lines, which I think is going to be a bit of a mistake here. I'm going to swing around and start engaging his troops directly. And I'm going to start moving my cavalry into a position where it can directly engage as well. Now he's probably got surprise units somewhere. I don't think this is his entire army, although it could be. Those heroes are a very expensive unit. So we'll have to find out in a little bit here. Sword attendants, I'm going to go down and charge them. Let's just get all my units down here. I want to keep these Yari, or these Naganatas around here, just in case something happens around the backfield. Let's get these guys moving over here. You can see that his units have started to shatter, just because I've got so much more firepower loaded into the front line here. It's going to inspire those guys. And that's going to rout his front line of Katana Kachi. Now, Katana Kachi are actually an excellent unit, and they're probably... Oh! Shoot, I think my opponent just rage quit, maybe. When you get this sort of connection sort of problem here, usually it means your opponent has disconnected from the game and doesn't want to fight anymore. So, yeah, we'll have to see how this works out. So what was happening here? Well, my opponent decided to go for a very sword-heavy army because he assumed that I was going to take a particular type of counter against him. What you typically see people try and take against a Fall of the Samurai army is a lot of bows. The reason being that bows will overwhelm and outrange the gun units that is typically taken by a modern army. So those bows can beat a gun line against a modern army if you use terrain correctly. And I think that's what he was trying to assume I was going to do here. But instead what I took was a melee army, since I kind of figured, well, if I take a lot of bullet shields, I can absorb those shots and continue on. Now, what might have happened here is I might have gotten drop hacked, but it sounds like I've got the victory music here, so we'll find out. There's a certain number of players who will just drop from the game in a particular way, and it'll get them a victory. I don't recommend you do it. It's just like, really odd. It's not that important if you win or lose when you know that you've actually won or lost the battle. But anyway, what my opponent was probably assuming I was going to do is take out archery heavy army. So he was going to try and out-skirmish it. Oh yeah, I've won this one. So he's going to try and probably out-skirmish it by moving his units around, picking away at my bows with his bow heroes, keeping them at bay with his bow kachi, and then overwhelming me in melee with his excellent katana kachi. And that's not what I let happen, since what I took was a melee army, which is a different sort of thing here. I earned a new retainer, the Jinsei Sushi Inspector. I never used these guys, they were pretty much useless. I got the European Gunsmith. Looks like I do not unlock Matchlock Ashigaru when I get this. That's a bit unfortunate. So I still don't have access to guns. That'll have to wait for next game. Sorry that this was such a short match, but it's happened sometimes. Your opponent just gets in a bad position. They make a bad assumption about what your army is going to be or what their army can do, and you clobber them. And you know, it happens, and frankly, if I were in his position, I don't know if I'd have stuck around either. It's one of those frustrating things where it's just like, oh, well, you know, I can't win here, so I'll just save us both a little bit of time, and that's fine. So, let's just go back here. So, as you can see, unlocked this region here that gives me access to the European Gunsmith, but not guns. Looks like I'm going to have to go, yeah, I have to go to Echu over here. So, next few matches, you're going to see me working my way over to Echu. Well, this has been Yukitsu Times. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all next time.